Hi, this is Anita with 5 Minutes with Art. There's some artists in the world that have more impact than others. And, you look at artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, and of course, Vincent van Gogh have all had huge impact on art throughout the ages. Another one, which I would actually add to that list, which, continues to become more and more popular, is Jackson Pollock. And Jackson Pollock is a name which is known for the Abstract Expressionism movement. And he's one of the most influential and also controversial artists of the 20th century. He was a master of Abstract Expressionism and the art of transformation. He was really one of the pivotal figures of this movement. What's interesting about him is he was basically born in Wyoming. He was sort of like a farm boy. He then later went to New York City and studied under, Thomas Hart Benton at the Art Student League there. But that didn't directly influence Pollock's work. Pollock was kind of his own man, and he was going to do his own art, and he was going to do his own expression. His breakthrough came when he started doing the drip technique. And, where basically, if you don't know what that is, it's where he drip, paint on these large canvases usually, and it'd be layer upon layer upon layer of all types of paint. A lot of stories go that he would be, in his studio, smoking a cigarette, throwing paint around, and probably a lot of drinking and other things going on too, because he was known to be quite wild and have quite a wild life. His rise to fame came in the mid-1940s. He caught the attention of Peggy Guggenheim, and she was an important art collector and gallery owner. And she gave Pollock a contract to provide him with financial stability and his first solo show. So this really helped him to be able to expand as an artist. He had a 4-page spread in the Life magazine, which means many people began to be able to know who he was. And this gave him great publicity within the United States. But he was also a very controversial figure because besides the fact that his art's controversial, that, some people look at it and say, like, is this really art or is this just some madman dripping paint on the canvas? He struggled with a lot of personal issues throughout his life, which of course in some ways affected him. He was married to the artist Lee Krasner, who is also his biggest supporter. But they had this turbulent and ongoing relationship. He struggled a lot with alcoholism. So, he was a man that actually had a lot of controversy. His productivity in the 1950s began to wane a little bit more as he started to battle his demons. And his life was cut short in 1956 when he tragically died, in a car crash just at the age of 44, where he was basically drunk and driving and, died in this very tragic car crash. But, despite the fact that he died at the young age of 44, he has many works that continue to become very important works of art. And when, a lot of people look at abstract expressionism, they look at Jackson Pollock and they look at his works of art. Some of them, like the mural that was in 1943, number 1A in 1948. This was his, really his drip technique and, his lace-like patterns of paint showcasing, his control over the chaos. And this is really one of the main things about him is a lot of people think it's just chaos, but actually he was a man that sort of had a control over this paint and this dripping and this chaos, which made him such a great artist. We could go on to many of the other ones, but we have them all written down here. But, there's many reasons why people love Jackson Pollock. And I'll just mention some of the reasons here. Is his innovative technique, this innovative technique of being able to do the drip paint. His paintings have this emotional depth to them. Here's a man that had his demons, and these demons came out onto the paper. His demons came out onto the canvas. He's had a huge influence on future generations and future artists. Many people look to him as their guide. There's a mystery about him and the interpretation behind it all. And the fact that he died so young, but yet has so many great works of art that are considered to be some of the greatest masterpieces ever. If you'd like to be able to read more about him, I've got quite an in-depth blog I've written about him called The Life and Art of Jackson Pollock. Abstract Expressionism Redefined. In there, we show 10 most popular paintings, and we talk a little bit more about his life and the work of this great artist who has become one of my favorite artists. So if you'd like to be able to learn more, please do check that out. Subscribe to our podcast. Check out our YouTube channel where we actually have more things there going on about different types of artists, including Jackson Pollock. And we hope you'll join our community where you'll join with us and learn more about art every single week. Thank you so much for listening. And we appreciate you, our listeners, and also appreciate our technical team. We know without both of these, this would not be possible. Thank you.